Καλησπέρα. Ναι. Good afternoon. I would like to thank you for being here today, and it is my honor to welcome you in the workshop of Sysadvance on biomethane advanced technologies and opportunities in Greece. Biomethane is not only an energy solution, it is a bridge between circular economy, waste management, and climate neutrality. Through the already installed upgraded units all over the world, we see every day that organic waste can become energy, jobs, and local development. Today, we are honored to have distinguished speakers from academia, policy, and industry, including representatives from CRES, NTUA, Technical Chamber of Greece, Habio, and of course the main industry company that will present us the technology, the Sysadvance. Okay, I don't want to take a lot of time because it is a short workshop, but just to say some indicative topics that we will discuss today. It's the legal and the regulatory framework. As well as the upcoming, at least we are waiting, financial support mechanism. Biogas from anaerobic digestion versus landfill gas. Routes to market and certification schemes. The role and contribution of the participating institution and their representative bodies. And any additional topics or synergies or other project, European and initiatives that we will hear from the speaker. So I would like first to invite the Δημήτριος Καρδοματέας, President of CRES, of Center for Renewable Energy Source and Saving, to start the conversation.
Thank you very much for your invitation, Effie. Thank you also Sysadvance for the organization of this event, which I think is important. It is coming in an important timing. We are at the point of finalizing the framework for the first biomethane units to become reality in Greece, as they are in all over Europe. We have made the first step last August, where the law was issued, which made it feasible the licensing of biomethane units, and gave also generous incentives for the connection of these units to the gas networks. What was not foreseen, of course, it's not a matter of law, it's a matter of bylaws, is some incentives concerning the financial performance of these units, which in the first stages, we know they should take some support from the state, which may take various schemes. It's not only operational aid. It may be investment aid. It may be in the terms of quotas to the natural gas. It may be and it is advisable also to have a well-performing market of the certificates for renewable gas, because they might have an extra income, these units, so that they become financially viable. We are in the course of waiting these decisions from the government. We know that there are deliberations and discussions with the European Commission on this issue, and the scene will be cleared up very soon. In the meantime, it is advisable that the units should take care for their the biogas units, the existing, first of all, should take care, should explore the possibilities for converting to biomethane, for connecting to the gas networks, or for having any other possibility of going out to the market. For example, bio-LNG. They should take all the steps because they need time as well. So it is good if we have all the steps in parallel. I mean, the units to know which are their costs, which are their plans, which are the parameters for their financial viability, and in the meantime, the state to come and fill in the gap, let's say, in discussions with the interested investors. I'm pretty sure that in the end we shall have biomethane in the energy picture, because this is a logical decision. This is reasonable, the technology is there, the costs are not too high, and it is necessary, first of all, for the environmental point of view. We have to treat all the pollutant, let's say, that emerge from the agricultural activity and the veterinary activities. We should take care of this. They are the first, they are the raw materials for biomethane. We have to do it. We have to do it, even if it was not possible to treat them and take energy out of them. So more so, because we will have also an energy benefit. There is a problem concerning some small units which are not close to the gas networks, okay, and I'm talking particularly to small units, because if it is big enough, it is financially feasible to produce bio-LNG. But if it's a small unit, there are some problems, and this is the situations where the financial support should be more generous. We have to, I think the state should see this issue of financial support according to the needs, of course. Of course, there are the needs of a big unit, other are the needs of a small unit, other are the needs of a unit that is connected to the network or that doesn't have this possibility, or it has to pay for the liquefaction process to bio-LNG. So there is quite a job that has to be done, but I'm pretty sure that in the end we would have the outcome, because this is the course of sense, the course of reason to go. This is what is happening all over Europe. And Sysadvance is a company that can play a role in this route. It is a company that is producing technology, not only applying, but producing technology and modernizing technology. It is one of the assets, I think, for Europe, and will have its role. I'm sure about that.
Thank you, Mr. President of CRES. Well, I will give now the floor to Mr. Joao Paulo Pinto-Machado, the Vice President of Sysadvance, and we are all yours to hear your technology and your expand, as I know, over Europe, all over the world, okay?
Good morning. Oops. Good morning to everybody. I apologize for having this conversation in English. It appears that I'm the only one not speaking Greek, so my apologies. In short, my name is Joao. I'm a co-founder of Sysadvance back 24 years ago. We started with nitrogen and oxygen generators on site, which is a technology that applies a technique called pressure swing adsorption. Moving forward, funnily enough, our largest plant of oxygen, our largest oxygen generator is, guess where, in Greece. It's a very large plant at the wastewater treatment plant of the island. Exactly, of Sicily. It's the largest we've ever built, so we're very proud for that. So from then onwards, since 2010, with the entry of Patrick Barcia, our CTO, we started developing the future of our company, literally. We were very much on an industrial basis, and from 2010 onwards, we jumped into the energy basis. Or let me put it to you this way. With nitrogen and oxygen, we are typically talking about reducing costs and autonomy towards our clients. With the energy that we produce, biomethane, we're not only talking about being autonomous, we're talking about energy independence. And that became a fact 4 or 5 years ago. And we're very proud of the work we've done so far, but with a lot of challenges coming forward. What can I tell you in brief? I'm not going to tell you so much about how proud I am of Sysadvance and our achievements. I think our job here today is more sharing information, perhaps challenging you to put us some questions in regards to what shall we do to make in Greece, to achieve in Greece the targets that somewhere bureaucrats in Brussels designed for this country, which we would, of course, like to be there. But if we don't do a few steps that other countries have done, it will be difficult for us. So let's put it to you in this way. We have a target today for Greece of 2 comma something, 220 billion cubic meters terawatts, right? Terawatts of biomethane. But all of a sudden by 2050, and today we have 0.2, if I'm not wrong, right, in biomethane. By 2050, somewhere in Brussels, they decided that we should be producing in Greece, jumping from 2.2 to 9.7. So how is this going to happen? It looks a little bit difficult. Having said so, it is not Greece's problem. It's a problem in Europe because we've all set forth our targets for the European production of biomethane. Today, we are producing 3.5, and we should have been already at 5.2. So we're all late. We're all late. And if other countries are, of course, much more organized in licensing these projects for the upgrading of biogas, obviously in Greece, what I came here to say is what should we put in place to make sure that we react the quickest way, in the quickest way possible to achieve those targets. So there are a couple of lessons learned that we had, and I would like to share a few with those. Some 3 or 4 years ago, we started doing business in the Baltic countries. Today, we produce only in Latvia 2% of the natural gas consumption. We have 6 or 7 plants. One of them produces 150 gigawatts. And they're all beautiful. We take all our clients there. We're very proud of what happened there. The first plant was built. The bigger one, was built without a biomethane specification, without incentives being declared, nothing. Just an investor that thought, no, and it has to work. And it did. It did work. And it did work on a combined effort with us and, of course, institutions in the Latvian government. Today they found, for example, that they're doing a lot of business with Digestat, which is an organic fertilizer. And that's a lot of business in there, apart from biomethane. And that's a very successful operation, and everyone in this room that would like to see that, we would welcome, and it would be a pleasure for us to jump on a plane and show you those plants up there. But again, this gentleman, that company took the initiative of advancing before the regulation was done. Of course, they knew that within 6 months, a year, it took a year and something, there was a specification. We knew more or less what to expect because of our experience in other markets in Europe, because of our experience in more tough, strictest markets in North America, for example, in the US. So we knew what we had to set off our plans to perform, and to perform within the strictest regulations. Example, just for your information, France has today an enormous amount of plants. They are not, I don't think they are the largest producer of biomethane, but they certainly have an awful lot of projects and plants. They're very small, or quite small. When we started working in France, the national grid, which is GRDF, there are a couple of few ones, but they're very small. The largest biomethane grid called us and other technologists to meetings so that we could tell them what could we do, as opposed to launching something that was perhaps the specification of natural gas, which obviously nobody could attend for. And those meetings were very productive because the specification originally said that it was that they would require 0.2%, which is the fact today, but they did a derogation for a number of years for 0.7 of oxygen. Sorry, I'm talking about the oxygen property on the biomethane specification. So the norm says 0.2, but they did a derogation for 0.7. A couple of years afterwards, that derogation came down to 0.5, and now, of course, there are a lot of injection points where you also need to meet 0.2. So Sysadvance we prepared our technologies ever since to meet that 0.2. In fact, we were the very first injecting biomethane on the grid in California. It was our second plant, 1,000 normal cubic meters. And we were the first injecting biomethane on the grid with the strictest specification in the world, what Americans call high BTU, which requires a purity of CH4 to 98.2, and a maximum allowance of oxygen of 2,000 ppm, 0.2 oxygen. We went there. At the end of our commissioning, somebody passed by and made some analysis, gone, taken care of. And then we went to another city in Portland, where we had a specification requiring 0.1. We also did that. Of course, we know that some other technologies, excuse me, some other technologies may require an additional capex to achieve that 0.2, but it is possible. We don't need that add-on. Actually, we sell, that's called a deoxo. So we're removing oxygen from the biomethane produced. And it's a deoxo, it's a component that we sell to other parties, which we use for many other things. We use that, for example, to achieve a fuel cell grade with hydrogen. So we have that product, we can sell that product, but we don't really need it unless the gas is so poor that at the end of the day, to reach 0.2, we need to reduce, say, for example, from 1% of oxygen to 0.2. I'm sorry, we can't do it. But from 0.6, we can. All right. What else did I tell you? Again, another difficulty that we found. I'm trying to challenge what are the challenges that we have to get to these 9.7. Okay. Another problem that we've seen everywhere is the anxiety of producers, promoters, of an establishment plan with sustainability, with which we can make a business plan and have the return on investment and make money. That's what we're here for, all of us, within a period of 10, 15, 20 years. We had some surprises. To give you an example, Again, in Latvia, the tariff for energy production from cogeneration went down eight times during a year and a half, to a point that there is no value in turning on the cogeneration motors. Okay, thanks God we were starting already with biomethane, and it was of course a very big pull for our solutions because they saw that cogeneration was no longer valid. And I was saying it is a government issue, in our opinion, to obtain that sustainability for the promoters and farmers or in industries to get engaged on biomethane. We can't just be investing 1 million, 2 million, 10 million on biogas digesters and biomethane and biogas to upgrade this to biomethane without knowing what are we going to get as a feed-in tariff. So again, my view, and this is personal, I'm just sharing what I think the market should be as a consumer also. I think from a tendency point of view, we have to have a generous feed-in tariff, as the eolic industry had, the photovoltaic industry had. Everybody had incentives to start up. There is no other way that we find that we will have a significant numbers of promoters without a feed-in tariff, period. Now, I'm one of those that think that along some time, we should have a digressive feed-in tariff. So today is 120, within 3 years' time is 100, within another 3 years' time is 95, because it will then be the adjustment of the industry itself. Once we get, I'm building here a few brackets, but it is the industry itself that has also to be more more productively efficient, to decrease costs. How do we decrease costs? I'm jumping from one thing to another, but I hope this makes sense for you. We have in Europe today, every country deciding its own specification of biomethane. I'm sorry. That's not standardization. And the industry will only be able to decrease costs if we have a standard product. We can't have technologies that in one market satisfy 0.5 of oxygen, and all of a sudden we jump to another market and it's 0.2. We have, once for all, we have to adopt something that is of common interest to everybody. And this is called Europe. But apparently Europeans cannot talk one to each other. But this is very important for us to decrease our costs and help in our own capabilities of achieving the sustainability, the financial sustainability that we have on these project developments. It's not only the government, it's ourselves. It's ourselves. And then with that sustainability in 15 years' time or 10 years' time, forgive me saying this, our technology on our own, it has a payback of less than 3 years. So let me put it to you in this perspective. Somebody builds a business plan for 10 years. If the technology is paid in 3 years, why do we need incentives? Okay? But this will be unique for a few entrepreneurs that view the market that way. There is no way that one farmer is going to take that risk if he doesn't have a good feed-in tariff. No way. And then, of course, we will not achieve 9.7. We will be at 5.2 or 4, because it needs an enormous amount of people promoting biomethane and producing biomethane. And a lot of those, being farmers, for example, will not engage themselves in business without the security of that feed-in tariff and a generous feed-in tariff that pays the risk of a farmer that is used to the farmers today are very technological, but I'm sorry, to get into chemical industry and the physical science of pressure swing insertion is a further step. So we have to have incentives, and this is very important. It belongs to the government. It also belongs to us to decrease our costs. Thirdly, and now I won't speak more for the moment. Sysadvance has a proprietary technology for landfill gas. We are quite unique. On anaerobic digestion, we're also quite unique. And the reason being is that from a total cost of ownership, There is no one that can achieve the OPEX on energy consumption that we do. And that on a total cost of ownership along 10 years, only on the delta between, example, a membrane technology, which is our main competition, and a PSA technology like ours, in 10 years' time, you're probably talking about 1.8, 2 million euros of reduction of costs with a PSA as compared to a membrane technology. So your investment is paid, all right? What else could I say? There are other technologies available, as you might know. Please stop me if you think that is common knowledge, but you have amine technology that is very efficient. It is typically used on markets that have a very low energy price, example, Denmark. They're all amines. We have a framework agreement with one of the largest producers of biomethane in the world today, Nature Energy, now belonging to Shell. And whatever is done in Denmark, it needs to be amine. But in France, for example, it needs to be PSA. Why? The delta of the energy price. Okay? So there is amine washing. There is water washing, a bit dubious today. It's got these interests in the past. Perhaps it pays for very large projects on AD. They can't do landfills. There is membrane technology, of course, and not very much more. So you have 3 or 4 technologies to choose from. What we produce is vacuum pressure swing insertion. So there are 2 pairs of columns, whilst one is pressured with at 6 bar, for example. We release from the top the product that we want, biomethane, CH4, sorry, and we release from the bottom the contaminants with vacuum. That is why we call this vacuum pressure swing insertion. And then there are different cycles. One is on pressure, the other one is on vacuum, and the other pair does exactly the same. So we're quite competitive. The benchmark that you're invited to do in terms of performance, in terms of the references we have. We run today 50 installations in the world, 10 countries, 3 continents. On those 50 installations, we produce today 2.7 gigawatts hour per year. That is a lot, for example, compared to what we aim to do in a short while in Greece. We have a lot of experience. We have a mature technology. We have 140 people in Portugal, 25 in North America, 6 in Brazil, and 6 other in the Baltic countries. We hope to have another 3 or 4 in Greece in a very short while. Because there is I can't sell without having the service. And whatever we sell, we have 10 or 12 months to produce and install and commission our plants. And that time gives me that lapse of time gives me the sufficient time to bring in to our headquarters technicians from Greece to be trained with us so that they can do a very fast response to whatever is needed. And anyway, from home, we do remote support of all our plants. We follow up what's going on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, for 24/7. I don't want to waste much of your time, and I have to thank Dimitris for your kind words. And I need to thank you, the audience, and your organization, and EFU, of course, for the invitation. And again, thank you very much for the patience of listening this non-Greek speaker.
Thank you a lot, Joao. I hope I am saying well. I will give now the floor to Professor Antonia Moropoulou, the Vice President of Technical Chamber of Greece.
Thank you, dear President, distinguished colleagues, partners, attendees. It's a great challenge today to discuss on this issue of biomethane advanced technologies and opportunities in Greece. I will adapt what Effie said, that biomethane is not only an energy topic, it is a strategic intersection between environment, engineering, circular economy, and regional development. And actually, what is happening today concerning the EU green transition is that this energy resource, it's becoming a key component defining new strategies. And it supports the transition to climate neutrality and strengthening energy resilience. However, what is happening in Greece? In Greece, we are actually facing a great challenge. Of course, we know what the plus would be if we address this challenge. But the actual question is how to structure the development and how to implement this strategy within development, within local and national development. Because we, of course, know that decarbonization of industry and transport is an outcome. We know that we will have improved waste management. And actually, we know that 40 years ago, you know, when feedstock waste-to-energy management was aligned with, in many places of Greece, with this energy alternative. But it was not never articulated to a grid. It was never notified as an alternative. Of course, what Mr. Καρδοματέας said to us is very important. I mean, we have now a law issued concerning biomethane actual utilization for this energy transition. But this is just a case to legalize local action. It doesn't mean that we are having the networking, the grid, the scale-up, and apart from energy conversion, to have an economical, a meaningful conversion for Greece as an alternative. And now with this EU target set for 9.7%, this is a huge challenge. Of course, this is the main, not only alignment, it is a challenge to come to a sustainable infrastructure planning and to resolve problems of energy conversion. This is a matter to discuss. What might be the efficiency of energy conversion from biomethane input? When our professor Manolis Koukios, I want to refer to him at the School of Chemical Engineering, was trying to convince us that, teaching us at 73, when we were running for democracy and liberty at Polytechnio, he was teaching us that there are major strategies for the green transmission at that time. And biomethane was one of the inputs to these strategies. So from 73 to 83 with the first units, that was actually a great change. It was a period of change. But from that change to an articulated economy, we are far away. And of course, here enters the engineering perspective and the role of TCG, and of course the role of the technology sector, the industrial sector, who is providing technology like the Sysadvance. And it was very interesting the approach of Joao. I mean, considering how to plan for biomethane injection into natural gas networks, how to work with metering, quality control, and safety for reliable grid integration. These are the challenges that we have to address, and not only through planning, but through engineering solutions. That requires, of course, licensing and permission simplification, which Mr. Καρδοματέας is not given. On the contrary, we are in a very complex situation concerning this issue. And the technical capacity building, we know very well in Greece that the technical capacity building requires a technical reality in production, because engineering education means problem-based learning and hands-on. So we need to educate our people in the units that are developed. And of course, remote monitoring and support is great, but we need to be there. So, of course, certification, absolutely. Of course, certification is important to follow up, and workshops like today are giving this message. But our strategic role is to promote real projects, pilot projects, and to construct and develop through these projects a new national reality. The waste-to-energy circular economy in Greece concerns feedstock potential, and this is a great potential that will dramatically change local economies if we use it. And policy priorities in Greece have to do with a stable feed-in tariffs and support schemes, with certification systems, with integration with other currents like hydrogen and CO2 utilization strategies, with alignment with EU taxonomy, and with public-private partnerships. That's why we need to multiply the effects of these dynamics through collaborations between all levels. And we can, in this way, underline key points like the ones I referred to in order to conclude that if biomethane is a present opportunity, Greece has to develop it right now. Thank you very much.
Yes, of course, Joao.
Sorry, I forgot a little while ago to mention two things that are quite important and relate to what Dimitri said and Antonia as well. The first is mobility, okay? There are plants and farmers that are far out from the national grid. That happens the same everywhere, okay? Everywhere. And we have a way of sorting out that problem. In fact, in Latvia, out of 6 plants, 3 of them work on mobility. That means we incorporate in our system a compressor for 250 bar, and then there is a track that travels down to another station where they inject on the grid. So that's not an issue. It's not a problem. We're not talking about dramatic investments. It's not difficult. The second thing I'd like to say is that both on anaerobic digestion, well, on landfill gases, where we have, as I said, the proprietary technology, We start with a plant of 500 normal cubic meters. Below, it's a little bit difficult because it's very CAPEX intensive, and go up to 5,000, and then modules of those. Meaning, for example, we have a plant right now in Brazil that is 7,500, and another one for the city of New Jersey that is 12,500. It's if I'm not wrong, 3 times 5. So it's a 5,000 units. 3 times 5,000 normal cubic meter modules. So there are different dimensions, but we start at 80 normal cubic meters. 80, 250, 360, 500, 750, 1,000. And that covers most of these smaller plants, so that is not an issue for us. In regards to something else that I think is very important in terms of our efficiency and innovation. Sysadvance has today at headquarters over 12 PhDs. Most of our engineering department is built with at least a master in certain specialities. We have a collaboration with the University of Porto and the chemical department in specific, and every year, for 24 years, every year we have somebody doing a master thesis or a PhD doctorate in subjects that are of our interest. We have a permanent collaboration with the Portuguese university, another one in Germany, and another one in Italy, and the research center in Spain. We're founders of BioRef, which is a national lab that delivered the biomethane plan to the Portuguese government, and we sit in there to explain what, in our opinion, as a technologist, should be in there. Okay, so please, if we can help in terms of explaining what are our experiences, please do not hesitate. But I'm very proud of sharing today with the academia what can we do to improve business. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Joao. And it is time now to talk with academia and with Professor Loizidou, professor in the National Technical University of Athens.
Thank you, Effie. Thank you. Thanks for the invitation to participate. We know Sysadvance, we just prepared one common proposal for the European Union, National Technical University, and we accompany the Porto University and other universities in Europe. Already we started a good collaboration. I just want to go a little bit back. When I was at the university at my first steps, and I went to Germany to see an anaerobic process. And I visited so many farmers, and each farmer has its own little plant. And I said, why so many plants in Germany? The income of the farmers was higher than the milk they used to get from the cows. And the reason was because they wanted to solve the problem of this waste, what to do with this waste. So Germany, and probably Christos knows more on that they developed to solve the problem. So anaerobic process is mainly started to solve problems of waste. And of course, the energy production now becomes very, very important. Always it was important, but now due to decarbonization, the CO2 emissions, and the Green Deal and circularity, we consider the energy sector very, very important as a green sector. Now, I hear so much about the injection to the grid. There are places. We have 300 islands. They don't have a grid. But we have waste. We have all the animals over there, the cheese. All these materials are biodegradable and with a great potential to produce biomethane or methane or whatever. So we have to see in a different way. We have the mountain areas. How can they transport all this waste down to the central points for injection into the grid? So, or even to compress and bring the whatever called compressed gas to use it. So we have to develop even local thinking, how we can really have an integrated approach towards these solutions. The injections to the grid is one, but probably isolated units for energy production in the islands of a good size, I mean, not a small island, could be a solution. So always the energy sector is there as an isolated production of energy. Maybe it has a higher cost, but if we go back to 98, when I developed my first private windmill, It was a 5 million cost per megawatt. So they used to give big tariffs. Go to photovoltaics. What was the price? 50 cents a kilowatt hour. But now you come to the methane and the biogas, saying nothing for the price. Okay, Greece had a kind of a subsidy, but they stopped it, or they're going to stop it. So we have to think locally and globally. There are not always the same solutions everywhere. And coming now to the central point for my speech, always I look at the anaerobic process from the point of waste management, because it's my field and it's a waste management. I mentioned earlier on that we have a biorefinery that we developed in the Technological Park of the National Technical University of Athens. Anaerobic process for us is the last step to polish up our waste. So we start with all the chemical processes to take material out, like fuels. For example, I made oil for the production of sustainable aviation fuels, the production of alcohol to use as a drop-in fuel or as a commodity. And then the last step is the anaerobic process to clean up our waste. And because by the law, we can dispose our digestate on the fields. For me, this is not the environmental solution, and I believe that, okay, we solve the problem of waste, but the way now we dispose the digestate is the worst thing to do. I don't know what you do in Latvia, but I'm just telling you the project that we developed for the European Commission, the so-called Dimitra project, that we take the digestate is solid and liquid, we remove the solid, it has a lot of phosphate, we compost this and we put some additives and becomes a very good fertilizer for Messini to cultivate in ΚΑΠΕ, in CRES. And the liquid we have designed, and we have a pattern on this, an evaporator with low consumption of energy to get very clean water, and the solid that remains has a very high content of potassium. But also we have the nitrogen that goes on the gaseous stream. We trap ammonia with sulfuric acid, and we produce ammonium sulfate as a third fertilizer. So in combination of all these fertilizers, these streams, we can produce with the Polish Institute very nice fertilizers that now the CRES will use for cultivation and choose the best. So we complement for zero waste and circularity completely on the anaerobic processes. And this should be the way forward, not to solve the problem of the agriculture, not to solve the problem of municipal waste, but also to bring up the circularity and bioeconomy and have all these circles around. And we don't stop over there. We even use the CO2 that is produced to make more products and biomass in greenhouse or algae production. So for us, the anaerobic process is a living lab. It's a very nice process. We try to develop it further because the production of biogas is very important technologically to increase the production of biogas. And starting from the agricultural waste, you can see the different production because of the content of the waste. But now a lot of emphasis is given to municipal waste. 45% of waste, municipal waste, is bio-waste that can be biodegraded. And there is a huge market over there for anaerobic processes, but always the designs of these anaerobic processes should be adjusted to the needs of municipal waste and not to the agricultural waste. We are talking about 7-8% solids in agricultural waste. For municipal waste, it has to be a dry process, 35%. 25% solids. So it's completely different. And with municipal waste, we don't have liquid digestate. We only have solid compost that we can use as a fertilizer. That's what I wanted to say. So we have to consider the environmental issues of the anaerobic processes and make 100% circularity, because all these materials are needed for the market. Mirsini showed earlier on the needs of fertilizers, from mineral fertilizers. We need to go from the biomaterials to consider and have the thinking of the biorefinery. Thank you.
Thank you a lot, Professor Loisidou. I think it is very important that there is synergy and that the industry take the results of such important European project and capitalize the results, okay? I would like now to talk Mr. Solonas Ioannou, General Secretary from the Habio, and now it's your time to tell about the producer side.
Thank you very much. Such a pleasure to be among such esteemed colleagues. I'm just going to try and present the situation from the industry side, from the biogas industry, which will be the bone of a transition to a biomethane. Our association has 65 members, but the biogas plants here in Greece are approximately 98. Just to address a few issues that you raised, no more than 10 plants are closer than 2 kilometers to the grid. So the issue that you raised, it's quite important. There is another problem because our plants are designed based on the specs on the grid availability and not the feedstock availability. So all plants are small. For instance, for the cubic meters that you mentioned, only 4 plants in Greece exceed the 500 cubic meters per hour in biomethane, not in biogas. So there is going to be a scale up, which we have to face, meaning that some biogas plants will not be able to adapt and will have to stay in a hybrid situation that will use electricity and also and transition to biomethane. And also there is a problem with the raw materials. If we exclude the municipal, which is a law that it's quite different in Greece, we have a dispersed raw materials with small farms. So the plants subsequently are smaller, 500 to 1 megawatt in electricity, so approximately 125 to 250 cubic meters per hour in biomethane. Also, biogas and biomethane have an avalanche of problems concerning how to disperse the liquid digestate with the legislation, meaning that until now, even with the new agricultural policy, there have to be some clarification to the law for the quantity and how much area we have to cover and what is the percentage of hydrogen and sulfur to be dispersed every year. And also there is in Greece, there is the viability of the biogas plants, the economical viability, which have to be able to work as a biogas plants in order to evolve to biomethane. This is an ongoing discussion with the government. As Mr. Καρδοματέας said, there is a new law that was passed on July 2027, which for us it's sorry? 25, sorry. Which is a law that for us does not offer real incentives. It mentions that there will be a CAPEX and OPEX subsidized, which is what we want, because as you mentioned and the industry says, there has to be a push in order to transit to a new technology. Let me mention that here in Greece, the technology of biogas is quite new. The investments have not been paid to the banks, so we have the CHPs that have to be paid with the earnings of the biomethane in case we stop using the engines, CHPs. So there is work to do. There is very much, a very steep process that we have to take. What I am interested and I would like to discuss is that Portugal is a country that is very close to us, approximately the same population. We are closely the same, approximately the same GDP. It's not that we have so much differences. We are also culturally very close. So I would like to understand how did you transit to that. In order for us to convince the government, we have to see what other countries have done. Germany, for instance, and Italy, it's not a viable example for us because they're very quite large countries and their plants are very big. They do not compare with us. So this is what I would like to discuss. And I give the floor to the crowd.
Can I ask a question quickly? In regards to mobility, basically in a general rule, of course, this all depends where we are in the market, where we are in geography, but basically up to 400 kilometers of distance, we suggest just CNG, compressed natural gas, bio CNG. Above 400 kilometers, we recommend bio-LNG, and of course we integrate technologies to liquefy both the biomethane as well as the CO2 that we produce. Then I think Maria and Sol mentioned something that is important for us. I shouldn't be saying this if there are too many authorities here, but we have a saying in Portugal that we always try to be the best students in regards to the European bureaucrats that sometimes are a little far away from what the reality is in each one of our countries. However, in what concerns the liquid digestate, I'm going to tell you what is happening in our country. The government is fully aware that there is, specifically in the north and then a little bit in the center, in the north, agro-waste, mostly with cow manure, and in the center, pig manure, which is a little even worse. Now, what our government understood is that this has to be a transition, and you can't cut things as a pair right at a specific moment. For example, right now, what people are doing openly or disguisedly is just using the cow manure to feed as a fertilizer. And that promotes a lot of odors and a lot of emissions. Now, we're going to take that liquid and transform it into biogas and deliver back a liquid that is nearly water. There are no odors, for example, and it's nearly water, and a solid fertilizer. So why do we have to say, okay, from day one, no more liquid fertilizer? It can't be that way. It needs to be a graduation, a progressive way of handling these matters. Otherwise, again, we will not have the power of promoters of biogas into biomethane.
I have one more question. Do you have technology also, or do you have plants that you treat manure?
We treat manure, and we treat the worst possible manure. We have an installation in Latvia again, and some others in North America, in different states, to treat nearly. Well, in the States they mix manure, pig manure or cow manure, with different feedstocks. In the north of Europe, in Latvia, the large plant that we have is actually producing biogas out of 100% chicken manure. This is the worst possible feedstock to treat, and yes, we're treating that. It contains a lot of things that we don't like, H2S, ammonia, VOCs, and we get rid of all of that, we can do that pre-treatment and still produce a biomethane, a high-quality biomethane. And now watch this, on the spot market, that biomethane is paid 10, 15, 20% above any other. Why? Because the off-takers pay. The off-takers are looking for a carbon credit. The off-takers will pay as increasingly more for the emissions that feedstock emits. So if it's chicken manure or cow manure only, of course the emissions are very large. And then if we treat only that, they get 120 or 130 instead of 100 euros per megawatt. In regards to feedstock, just very quickly, yes, it is a problem everywhere. By the way, we have a fabulous lab in our company to design a very precise media to a specific biogas. Everything is standardized as a technology, but the media that we put inside our columns is actually study. We have a fantastic numerical simulation for many years. We have analyzed thousands of different medias to put inside the column. Most of the times we do a sandwich, and we won't tell you what is the percentage, but in each particular gas, we need special media to take care of that. Now, in regards to feed, and we in our lab today, we actually test the metagenic property of a certain feedstock as compared to other, so that we design the best recipe, the best possible recipe. Feedstock is a problem. But again, we come from a small country with very small farmers. We're trying to do right now a project of our own. So from an anaerobic digestion up to taking cow manure and agro waste and green waste from the city and OMS from the city, organic municipal waste, to transform it into biogas. So we built an anaerobic digester. Then we have our metagen to do the biogas upgrading to biomethane, all in one row. And we have, for one project, 15 farmers. 15 farmers. And we have contracts for 10 years. And this has been possible at the feedstock level, right? But if somebody doesn't want, if somebody wants to make money, if the farmers want to make money, they also can join themselves. We have a project in France that was, again, I think nearly 15 farmers that got together to build a project from A to Z. They have to get together. And this is, again, a cultural difficulty that we have that is very common to yours. How do we get these people aggregated and in cooperation? But that's the solution, of course.
Christos Zafiris from CRES, from Biogas and Biomethane project. I know your expertise. You are a very, very serious company, known in the European community, in all the world. I would like to tell me how to treat the chicken manure. The chicken manure, because it's extremely difficult to reduce the nitrogen. You put inside chemicals, you put inside diluted with water, you put inside pressure all together. Or tell me something. Secret, okay? I know it's secret, but please, and of course, I know all the διαδικασία, all the procedure from Denmark. From Denmark, I know all the procedure. But you are saying from these processes, from you or from the others. If you say, tell me something. We have a lot, we have million chicken here in Greece. We have a very serious problem in the west side of Greece, and they have problem because, you know, there is no possible to put inside chicken without treatment. And of course, you tell me something about the landfill gas. We have Vox and process nitrogen there, both. Please.
What about your achievements concerning, at least at an average, the waste to energy conversion rate, which is an issue, since you want to reduce the cost, but you want to augment the conversion rate?
So when we came into this business, as I said before, it was business, economics, but also the bringing autonomy to the farmers, bringing efficiency. Why? Because most of the biogas, well, all of the biogas in the world started producing energy, electric energy, through cogeneration motors. The efficiency, I'm sorry if there is anybody from a cogeneration motor, I'll be happy to explain what our views are. The efficiency of the cogeneration motors in conversion to energy is about 40%. We do not do anything below 99.5. So that is the conversion. You give me a biogas for cogeneration, and I'll produce X amount of megawatts in energy. You give me that same biogas to a metagen, and I'll give you 99.5, 99.7 of efficiency. So that's what we deal with. Now, in regards to the chicken manure pretreatment, firstly, the first project that we did was not ours, so we learned from a client. Okay, the client had already a lot of difficulties in feeding that biogas into the cogeneration because it was really madness. Okay, with everything that you've mentioned, NH3, VOCs, siloxanes, and a lot of NH3. There are different stages of pretreatment, and I would recommend, given the amount of VOCs and siloxanes, okay, we have a tower included in all of our plants. We have a high pressure column that is dedicated to VOCs and siloxanes, to a certain limit, of course. If we are on a context of very high VOCs, example, on landfill, we have a TSA to treat VOCs, okay, and there's zero as outcome, or nearly. And then our siloxane tower can be bigger, and we get rid of all the siloxanes. And we have that experience. Actually, we joined an European program. The data is disclosed to the public of what came in and what got out of our system in terms of siloxanes and VOCs. In what concerns H2S, there is again 5,000 ppms and NH3 on a very high degree also. There are two treatments really. One is chemical scrubbing, and the other one is bioscrubbing. Okay.
You don't think it will proceed with you don't think?
No.
No.
No, I don't do any cryogenic. I don't need that. We can do cryogenic with our product afterwards. CO2, pure CO2 with pure biomethane. Then we can do the cryogenic. But before, we don't do. And I've not really heard of that experience. And forgive me saying this, we're becoming a little bit experiment. In landfills, for sure. In landfills, we don't have NH3. The particular problem of the chicken manor is, apart from the others, NH3. Okay, and that's a wash. That's a wash, right? That's a water wash. A water wash, sorry, a simple process of washing. Clear?
Okay, Mr. Ioannou wants to say something.
Allow me to ask again. You mentioned that there was a process of subsidizing and gradual steps, beginning with one price and then after a few years dropping down. Can you? All right. Can you describe a little bit what the government has done for Portugal in order to implement and transition from biogas to biomethane?
I'm sorry, we don't have incentives. There is, however, there is something that Demetrius mentioned a little while ago, and it is very important. We are within the European Union. And let's not be slaves of the European Union, of the European Commission, but be, collaborate in the best way and on the benefits of belonging to the European community. We have these certificates of origin. You can be producing everywhere, wherever, and still selling to a Danish or to a German or a French off-taker or a Portuguese off-taker. But that's the spot market. It's out there. And you can also do PPAs on low term. Of course, the price is lower. If you want a guarantee of a certificate of origin. They will specify what is the minimum take, what is the maximum take. Obviously, they have an asset and they have to make money with that. But that's it. Certificates of origin. And wait for the incentives to come. And we're waiting for incentives, again, as Dimitri said, both on a CapEx level, which it is quite obvious. There is a program on the EEC that is dedicated to industry. This is another industry like anyone else, like any other else. We are developing a project. We are submitting an application to European funds, coordinated by the local governments, of course, and we have between 40 to 65% of incentives over the CapEx. But it's afterwards on the feed-in tariff that, of course, it depends on our government, right? But certificates of origin.
Mr. Καρδοματέas told us in the previous workshop that there are some programs from ESPA that can give incentives to the CapEx. And if I understand right?
What I said is that it is that this kind of investments are eligible to be financed, to receive CapEx and CapEx support through the ESPA or in general the community funding schemes. I don't know if the exact details of the Greek, of the Greek program, what is foreseen, but I know that this kind of investments are fully eligible to receive CapEx investment. The problem at this moment, and I know that in the ministry they are discussing on that, is the operating support. The operating subsidy is more difficult to take the approvals and to implement. But in the capital aid, the capital financing aid is very easy, I think, and these investments are eligible for that.
Okay, thank you. I think the time is, we already passed the time, so sorry for not taking other questions from the audience, but you can all meet Mr. Joao in the stand, in B20 stand, so you can continue there. Who wants to have a question, discussion with Mr. Joao and also the team. I would like to thank you all. I would like to thank the speakers. I would like to thank especially the Sysadvance company. And I would like to highlight that this is the best example of a company starting with 4 people as a spin-off from a university. Chemical all engineers then started. After many 22, 23, 24 years now, you are leading a technology all over the world. And very recently you take an award from Portugal about your being the first company of export. So this is a good example for a small country like you, like ours. Thank you all.
I don't want to, I shouldn't be talking about that after Rafi. One thing very important that I think reunites us all in here. We have a statement in our company. We work on a 3P, people, profit, and the planet. And that at the net zero cost. This is where we want to operate. We take it from bottom to up, and we put every innovation of any worker that works with us, of a client, a suggestion of a supplier. We integrate all of that, and our aim is to do sustainability at net zero cost for people, for the planet, and for our profit. That's what we're here for.
Thank you.